Welcome, I'm Kinetic Symphony. This is Dave. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the supernatural. Case file number 1934, written by heyhollyjay, from Bubbly to Shy, a life's a big why. This happened several years ago in college, and I still can't fully explain it. Before you ask, I was sleeping normally. I've never had a severe head injury, and I was not under any unusual amount of stress. I was sitting in one of my classes taking notes while the professor lectured, when I suddenly realized that my entire existence and identity had completely changed. I don't remember anything about my former existence, but I am absolutely certain that my reality transformed in that moment. I had the eerie feeling that I was magically in a different body, with a different personal history, a different family and friends, sitting in a different class with different people around me, maybe in a different place. The wildest part about it is that I looked down at my notes, and they had nothing to do with the class I was sitting in. Like my hand was still mid-writing a sentence, but the stuff I had written before, transition, was just about business marketing concepts that I had never learned about in any class in college. And the professor was clearly currently lecturing about public health. It was my handwriting though. I started looking around really perturbed, and I probably gasped, because the professor stopped and asked if I was okay. I got up and left the class and immediately walked to the psychological counseling center, because I thought I had a schizophrenic episode or something, and I might need professional help. It was two people. Probably in case they needed to sign me in for involuntary hospitalization, triaged me and considered admitting me for inpatient treatment because I was pretty frantic and talking about how I didn't truly exist and I wasn't real. After calming down and talking a lot, they said I had probably experienced a severe dissociative episode, but no one could explain the notes I showed them, and they all agreed that it was weird, but said I probably just forgot about the notes from a different class and spaced out. Again, I never took a business class, and had to look up terms and formulas from the notes to even know what they meant. I wasn't convinced, so they brought out the actual DSM book to show me that my symptoms aligned with dissociation. I had to lie to them and tell them I believed it was a dissociative episode, and spent a long time talking and convincing them that I was okay to avoid going to the hospital. Maybe I did dissociate? But that doesn't explain my apparent lasting personality change from that time on. I was supposedly a very bubbly, outgoing person before, and I am decidedly a reserved and shy person now. Writing this out is literally stressing me out so much right now because it's so vulnerable. I have completely different interests and goals now than I did before the episode. I will admit that I had some depression and anxiety throughout my life, but never anything that altered my perception of reality. The experience still really baffles me, and I try not to think about it too much, because I start wondering about my existence in alternate timelines, etc. And it's a spiral that makes me feel a little sad. It makes me feel like my lifelong relationships aren't genuine. I haven't really been able to maintain these relationships anyways. My family has almost completely disowned me, because they say that I changed and lost my values when I moved away from home for college. I can't relate to them at all. We struggle to communicate, and I don't love anyone in my family. I do love many other people, so I'm not just some psychopath. I haven't felt anything when people in my family have died, but I've been devastated by the deaths and misfortunes of other loved ones, mostly people I met after the episode. This isn't your classic case of conservative parents disowning their newly progressive child. My parents say that I used to care about important things like getting married and having kids, but I can't remember ever having a desire to get married. I've always been terrified of the thought of having children. I don't enjoy or care about supposed family traditions, and I have entirely different taste in food, entertainment, style, everything. I'm also weirdly the only person in my family who doesn't speak with a deep southern accent, and I remember people commenting on it after the episode. I've seen freaky videos of myself as a kid where my accent is clearly different. I even speak in a much higher pitch. But I think I made a conscious decision to drop the accent so people wouldn't think I was dumb. I'm not sure though. It's like a hazy memory. A lot of my memories feel this way. Nothing from before the episode is clear, like the memories I've made after the episode. No one in college commented that my accident had changed, so maybe it was just more striking to my hometown friends because they hadn't heard from me in a while. It's confusing, but I feel like I can't be the same person my parents raised. Many of my friends who I allegedly grew up with have also said that I seem really different since I went away to college. I definitely matured a lot and developed as a person, but their comments have made me think that I'm really not the same person. I can't seem to relate to them on anything, and I don't understand how we ever hung out, especially when it comes to humor. We don't laugh at any of the same stuff. I feel like I have to pretend to be someone else to spend time with them, so our friendships have fizzled out. They often want to gossip about people from our childhoods, but I feel no connection to those people, and I don't care about gossiping because they're basically strangers to me. Even in college, I was a leader and founder in a sorority before the episode, but afterwards I couldn't understand why I would ever pay to be part of an organization with such strict and old school rules. I hated the events I helped organize and attended, and the rituals were meaningless to me. I went from wearing my t-shirts and bags emblazoned with sorority's Greek letters every day, to not wanting to touch those items because they felt like someone else's possessions. I left the sisterhood, which was apparently surprising to everyone except me. One troubling thing is that I don't really care about the relationships I've lost because of my personality change. I don't feel like I even really know these people. So it doesn't matter to me if they don't like me or are surprised by my behavior. I've pretty much had to restart and make entirely different friends since this happened. But I've also reconnected with people from my past who say I'm nothing like they remember, and we've gotten along really well. I can't explain why I wasn't closer to these people all along, because we have shared interests, values, communication styles, etc. My memories of things I liked doing before are not things I would enjoy now, and I don't understand how I ever did. For example, I apparently skipped prom to go fishing because I didn't want to pay the entrance fee, but I love dressing up and dancing, and I don't like fishing. This makes absolutely no sense to me. I have tattoos whose significance I don't totally understand. They look pretty, but I can't explain why I got them, and don't remember where the idea for them came from. When I see pictures of myself from before, I look like a stranger to me. I dress differently, stand differently, smile differently. It's perturbing to me, but other people don't seem to notice. There's something really off about my eyes in photos from before, and it makes me feel uneasy. It's like the way I held the muscles in my face while smiling was different than before. I can make my face look like that now, but it's not how I naturally smile. I still sometimes have a hard time with pictures because I don't feel like I'm the person in the photo. I really hate mirrors and always worry that she, my reflection, is going to take back control or something. I'm afraid to look my reflection in the eyes. One major worry I have is that one day I'll just switch back and have to go through all this again. Maybe it will happen multiple times. Maybe I'll become an entirely different person again. I really freaking hope not. It's all incredibly strange and I can't explain it, and it still freaks me out. It seems to make psychologists uncomfortable, so I've largely just dropped it at this point, but I obviously still think about it all the time. Boy golly, if you have any theories, I'd love to hear them. Questão 1934. From Bubbly to Shy. A life's big why. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack in this story, but the first thing I will say is just, even though psychiatrists and psychologists might be not really understand what's going on, I would say defer to their expertise first and foremost. Maybe it is simply a mental problem and it can be fixed. Now, if it hasn't happened again since then, well, you have the fear of it happening again, but that does diminish the probability that is psychological. Won't discount that. Okay. What if, not always, but sometimes, these dissociative episodes or changing of mindset, dual personality, are caused by a quantum immortality transfer into you by a soul that wasn't meant for you? Maybe it wasn't a copy of you in a different universe, but someone else loaded into your body, into your brain. And you have two souls occupying the same space, but one is suppressing the other, or even replaced it, overrid it. Maybe some part of your original soul is still there. Now, I don't even know if this is better in terms of, did your soul get erased or pushed down maybe? Or was it a fusion, a blending? So you're still you. The soul is there, it's just morphed. And maybe that's why they can't correct it, because it's too late. The code is already fused together. It's like trying to reform a sandwich after you already bit into it. And like, could you in theory? Maybe, but it's not really practical. Sometimes quantum immortality goes wrong, and two souls join when they weren't supposed to. That could explain a lot of this, I think. And if that is the case, the good news is that it's extremely rare. Doesn't happen often at all. So the odds of it happening again are very, very minuscule. Now, time for the joke of the day. I was buying new tires for my car. While I was discussing my options, the person down the counter was flustered at the prices she was being offered. To this, she loudly asked, "I put the same ones on my husband's Jeep last year. What happened? Why are they so expensive?" To which I looked over at her and loudly stated, "Inflation." The guys behind the counter laughed. The rest of the room groaned out a chorus of dad joke music that should have been filmed live in front of a studio audience. But I hope that one day I can muster, these dad jokes, I just read them and learn them and incorporate them. But to be able to, on the spot, on the fly, create your own dad joke, that is pristine quality right there. Perfect. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.